All right, so we've got a whole lot here on The Godfather Part II.
Yeah. It's a pretty massive film.
It really is, and I mean,
It's one of those movies.
everyone says it's great,
People always talk about how good it is.
but we're gonna like really get into it.
We're going to go deeper than that.
What makes it so great?
What makes this movie tick?
Yeah, exactly.
And especially for a sequel,
Right.
to not only live up to the original, but for many to be even better than the original.
Yeah.
It's
That's a high bar.
that's a high bar, yeah.
And the sources point to some key elements that make it work so well.
They really do.
One of the first things that jumps out at me is the structure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The two parallel stories.
Yeah.
Each one kind of captivating on its own.
Right.
You've got young Vito's rise to power,
Mm-hmm.
and then Michael dealing with kind of the weight of that legacy decades later.
And it's not just like a storytelling gimmick.
Right.
The sources talk about how Coppola is using this to explore these big themes, ambition, legacy, from all these different angles.
Like how each generation deals with it.
Exactly.
Vito builds his empire on a certain sense of, community and respect.
Mm-hmm.
But even that path,
Yeah.
the film doesn't shy away from the darkness.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, Vito takes out rivals, Don Fanucci,
Yeah.
but it's presented as this kind of necessary evil.
Right. He's reluctant.
He's reluctant,
Yeah.
to protect what he's built.
It's a very different feeling than Michael.
Oh,
who
yeah.
seems, cold and calculating.
And the way he uses violence.
I mean, just look at the scene where he's taking out his rivals.
Oh, yeah.
Even his own family.
Right.
And it's intercut with his son's first communion.
Oh, wow.
Such a stark contrast,
Really is.
Sacred and profane.
Yeah, absolutely.
So jarring,
Yeah.
but effective.
It is effective.
Yeah.
It's almost Shakespearean.
It is.
The way absolute power just warps Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Shakespearean, we got to talk about the performances.
Oh, we have to.
Pacino and De Niro.
Legendary.
Absolutely legendary.
I mean, De Niro as young Vito, stepping into a role.
Huge shoes to fill.
Huge shoes to fill.
Yeah,
I mean,
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando, come on.
Come on.
But the sources talk about how De Niro doesn't imitate.
Right.
He embodies the role.
He makes it his own.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that he spent months in Sicily.
He did.
Learning the dialect.
Yeah.
And you feel that authenticity when you watch it.
You really do.
It adds this whole other layer.
Absolutely, a layer of depth and realism.
Yeah, like you believe this guy.
You believe that this is a man forged by this harsh reality of immigrant life at that time.
Yeah.
And in that place.
It's incredible.
And then you have Pacino.
Oh, yeah.
As Michael.
Chilling.
He is so chilling.
So different from the first film.
Yeah, totally different.
That war hero.
Yeah.
There's that scene with Senator Geary.
Oh, yeah.
And it's almost a whisper.
Uh-huh.
But the menace behind it.
Oh, yeah.
It's palpable.
Yeah, and the sources really go into how crucial that transformation is.
Yeah.
From the first film to this one.
Yeah.
That descent into darkness.
Yeah.
And Pacino just nails it.
He really does.
His face is often in shadow,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. His eyes are filled with suspicion.
Yeah.
He embodies that isolation and the paranoia that come with wielding that kind of power.
That absolute power, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just the performances.
Right.
The sources talk about how brilliant the filmmaking is.
Oh.
Gordon Willis, the cinematographer.
Oh, masterclass.
It's amazing how he uses light and shadow to create mood.
It's not just making things look pretty.
Right.
It's about serving the story.
Totally.
Enhancing the storytelling.
Yeah.
Think about that scene when young Vito returns to Sicily.
Yeah.
And the way Willis captures the sunlight.
Yeah.
Filtering through the trees.
It's beautiful.
It's like this visual representation
Yeah.
of Vito's nostalgia for this lost innocence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Powerful stuff.
And then the score.
Oh, yeah.
Nino Rota.
Nino Rota.
So beautiful and haunting.
It really adds another layer of emotional depth.
It does. You hear those first few notes of the theme, and you're right back in that world.
Instantly transported.
You are, yeah.
Back into that world.
It's incredible. And it's that combination of the powerful storytelling, the iconic performances, and the just masterful filmmaking that elevates The Godfather Part II to a whole other level.
To a whole other level.
I'm not just a gangster movie. It's this meditation on ambition, family, loyalty, and the corrupting nature of power.
It really is all of those things.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Welcome back. We were talking about how all these elements come together to make this such a great film.
Yeah.
And I think the narrative structure is really something else.
It's really interesting.
So complex.
Yeah, the sources really emphasize how Coppola uses those parallel stories of Vito and Michael.
Yeah.
It's not just two separate things happening.
It creates a dialogue between the two.
It's like they're informing each other.
Exactly. And the sources point out that it's not just about cutting back and forth.
Right.
It's about drawing these parallels and contrasts
Yeah.
that really illuminate those central themes.
Yeah, like that scene we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Where Michael's eliminating his rivals.
Yeah.
And it's intercut with his son's first communion.
Right.
So powerful.
It really shows how entangled he's become in that world of violence, even as he's trying to maintain this facade of normalcy.
Right.
And the editing is so interesting.
Yeah, how so?
It creates these unexpected juxtapositions.
Wow.
You might have young Vito making this tough decision, and then you cut to Michael decades later facing a similar dilemma. So you're forced to consider how their choices are connected.
Even though they're separated by time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like they're both haunted by this idea of legacy.
Right.
Of living up to this certain standard.
Yeah, but those standards are always shifting.
They are. Yeah, it's really interesting how those themes play out visually, too.
Oh, absolutely. Coppola's use of visual storytelling is masterful.
The sources talk about these recurring motifs and symbols.
Yeah.
That add all these layers of meaning.
Right.
Like the oranges.
The oranges.
It's amazing how such a simple thing
I know.
Can become this potent symbol of foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's subtle.
It is.
But it works.
Yeah, you see those oranges, something bad's about to happen.
Yeah, it's like this visual cue that danger is lurking.
Yeah, totally. And then there's the eyes.
The eyes. Oh, yeah.
So many close-ups.
So many close-ups.
On the character's eyes.
Yeah.
And it's so deliberate.
It is.
Like you were saying earlier about Michael's eyes.
Yeah, how they get more shadowed. Yeah.
As he descends further into darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not just him.
Right.
Think about Kay.
Yeah.
When she finally realizes the truth about Michael.
Yeah.
The pain.
Yeah.
The disillusionment in her eyes. Or Fredo.
Right.
Full of fear and desperation.
Yeah.
As he's trying to justify his betrayal.
It's like Coppola is using the eyes as this window into their souls.
Exactly.
You can read so much emotion and subtext.
You really can.
In those close-ups.
It's powerful.
It is. And it's not just the visual storytelling.
Right.
The pacing is incredible.
Yeah. The pacing is masterful.
For such a long movie.
It's a long movie.
It never drags.
It never feels slow.
No.
There's this constant tension and momentum.
Yeah, even in the quieter moments.
Yeah, I think that's partly because of how Coppola handles exposition.
Oh, yeah, how so?
He doesn't spoon-feed information to the audience.
Right.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Piece things together yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that keeps you invested.
Yeah, it's like you're solving a puzzle.
Exactly.
Alongside the character.
You're trying to figure out their motivations.
Yeah.
Anticipate their next move.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Absolutely.
Even though you might know how it ends.
Right.
Speaking of the ending.
Yeah.
That final scene with Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting alone.
Just reflecting.
Reflecting on his choices.
So powerful.
It is powerful.
And ambiguous.
What do you think Coppola's trying to say?
Well, the sources offer a few different interpretations.
Okay.
Some say it's a portrait of a man who has it all, but realizes it means nothing.
Right.
Others see it as a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
About the corrupting nature of power.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea that Michael's trapped by his past. By his father's legacy.
Yeah. He's trying to escape it.
He tries so hard.
But he can't.
But he ends up a prisoner of it.
Right.
I think it's all of those things.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the ending so brilliant. It doesn't give you easy answers.
No, it leaves you with questions.
Yeah, that linger.
They really do linger.
Long after the credits roll.
Exactly. And those questions, those lingering doubts and uncertainties, they're what make The Godfather Part II such a rich and rewarding film.
It really is a film that you don't just watch passively.
You can.
It challenges you.
It does.
To think critically.
Yeah, to engage with its themes on a deeper level.
It stays with you.
It does. It provokes debate.
Yeah.
It invites multiple interpretations.
And that's what we want to encourage you, the listener, to do.
Absolutely.
As we continue this deep dive, we're going to get into some specific scenes.
Right.
And analyze how Coppola uses symbolism, sound editing.
Yeah.
To create meaning.
All those layers.
But we want you to be a part of this.
Absolutely.
We want you to think about the themes.
As characters.
The choices.
Yeah.
What resonates with you.
What questions does it raise?
Yeah. How does it connect to your own experiences?
Exactly.
Your own understanding of the world.
Because The Godfather Part II is more than just a gangster movie.
It is.
It's a reflection of our own desires,
Yeah.
our own struggles,
Right.
our own capacity for both good and evil.
Totally. And by engaging with it
Yeah.
on a deeper level, we can gain a better understanding.
I think so.
Not just of these characters, but of ourselves.
Yeah.
So with that in mind,
Okay.
let's look at that opening sequence in Sicily.
Oh, yeah.
Visually stunning.
It really is.
But it also sets the stage for Vito's whole journey.
It does.
In a way that's both beautiful and brutal.
Yeah, how does he do that?
Right.
How does he strike that balance?
Yeah.
Well, one thing the sources talk about is the contrast between the vibrant colors of the landscape and this undercurrent of violence.
Yeah, you have these beautiful shots of the Sicilian countryside.
Right, rolling hills, vineyards.
Yeah.
But then these moments of sudden violence.
Right. It's shocking.
It is.
And that contrast is reflected in young Vito, too.
Yeah.
He's just a boy.
Right.
But he's forced to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
Make these tough choices to survive.
And how Coppola uses sound in that sequence is amazing.
It really is.
You have the sounds of the countryside.
The birds, the wind.
Yeah.
Rustling through the trees.
And then Rota's score.
Oh, yeah.
Haunting and evocative.
It's like the score acts as a counterpoint to the visuals.
Okay.
Creates this sense of unease, foreshadowing the darkness that's to come.
And that use of sound continues.
Throughout the whole film.
It's like Coppola's creating this symphony.
Yeah.
Of sound and image.
It really is.
Every element carefully orchestrated.
It is.
To create a specific emotional impact.
And that's what we're going to keep exploring as we continue this deep dive.
We'll break down specific scenes, analyze the symbolism, discuss how Coppola's direction takes this film from just a great film
to a true work of art,
to a masterpiece.
So if you haven't already, grab a copy of the film, get ready to take a closer look.
We're going to uncover all those layers of meaning that make this film so captivating.
So enduring.
Absolutely.
So we've been talking about how Coppola uses symbolism and sound, you know, to really enhance the storytelling in The Godfather Part II.
Yeah.
And these small details.
They really do.
They add so much depth and complexity.
It's fascinating how these things work on a subconscious level.
Right.
You might not even notice them at first.
Right.
But then they stay with you.
They do.
They really do.
Adding these layers of meaning.
Yeah.
Like the mirrors.
The mirrors.
I never really noticed them before.
Oh, really?
But they're everywhere in this film.
They are everywhere.
And they always seem to reflect Michael's state of mind.
Yeah, that fractured state of mind.
Yeah.
Like he's losing himself.
Right.
There's that scene where he's alone in his office.
Yeah.
And his reflection is all distorted. Yeah.
In those multiple panes of glass.
Right. It's like this visual representation of his moral decline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The way he's losing himself.
Yeah. In this world of power and violence.
Right.
It's like he's looking for himself, but he doesn't even recognize the person looking back.
Yeah.
And that theme of identity runs throughout the whole film.
It does.
Both Vito and Michael, they're trying to figure out who they are.
Right. What their legacy will be.
What does it all mean?
Exactly. And the sources highlight how Coppola uses those flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Not just for backstory.
Right.
But to really explore how these characters develop psychologically.
Yeah, like we see Vito's experiences in Sicily and how they shape his worldview.
Right, his code of honor and loyalty.
But then we see how those same values can get twisted, corrupted, when they're applied to this world of organized crime.
It's a dangerous world.
It is. Yeah. Vito may have started with good intentions.
But he ends up creating this system built on violence.
And intimidation.
And Michael inherits that system.
He does.
But he takes it even further.
He does. He's more ruthless.
More calculating.
Yeah.
Willing to sacrifice anything.
And anyone.
To protect his power.
To stay on top.
And the film really shows us the consequences.
Yeah, it doesn't shy away from them.
Of those choices.
No.
Like how Michael's actions destroy his family.
Yeah.
His relationships.
His own soul, really.
Yeah. Himself, ultimately.
That scene where Kay confronts him.
Oh, yeah.
About Fredo.
Oh, man.
The pain in her eyes.
It's devastating.
Yeah, the realization that the man she loves is capable of such a thing.
It's brutal.
It really is. And the sound in that scene.
The silence.
Oh, yeah.
Is deafening.
You can hear every gasp, every sob.
It's incredible.
Coppola uses silence
Yeah.
to really heighten the tension, the emotional impact.
It's like he's giving us space to process it all, to feel the weight of everything.
The weight of these choices.
It's what makes this film so powerful.
So powerful and enduring.
Yeah, it doesn't give you easy answers.
Yep.
It forces you to confront these uncomfortable truths.
About human nature.
Yeah, about power.
The choices we make.
And the consequences.
Yeah, the ripples.
It's incredible that we're still talking about all this.
I know.
Decades later.
Decades after it came out.
It really is a testament to its power.
To its enduring power.
This is a film that demands to be seen.
It does.
Analyzed.
Argued
talked about.
Yeah.
It stays with you.
It really does. It makes you think about your own life.
Yeah.
Your own values.
Your place in the world.
And that's what we hoped to do with this deep dive.
Yeah.
To give you some new insights.
Things to think about.
On your next viewing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to you, the listener,
yeah.
to engage with the material.
To draw your own conclusions.
To keep the conversation going.
Exactly.
Because The Godfather Part II...
It's a film that deserves to be revisited.
It does.
Re-examined.
Rediscovered.
It's a timeless masterpiece.
It is.
That continues to speak to us today.
Absolutely.
It reminds us about the complexities of human nature.
Yeah.
And the enduring power of great storytelling.
It really is something special.
It is so. Thank you for joining us on this journey.
We hope you enjoyed the deep dive.
We'll see you next time.